Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic with me, Grey Hunter, where last time we finished up the Manaan portion of the main quest, and now we are headed off to Korriban. First though, I do want to make a stop in at Yavin again, but also I want to go talk to Juhani, because while she's not the most interesting character on the ship, she does have some interesting dialogue that will become relevant soon TM. So we're going to go through all of her dialogue and talk to her. So this may end up being split into another episode where I just go talk to people, and then the next one will be a more action-oriented one. If so, I will put something in the description to that effect, so you can skip it if you're not particularly interested. But for now, Juhani, hello.
I feel I must apologize for the way I acted towards you before in the Grove.
You did try to kill me. Well, you know, it's okay. You were really upset and stuff.
I am sorry for attacking you. I am sorry for thinking you would only try to kill me. I hope that by helping you in your task,
well,
I may redeem myself
I did, I think, a little bit.
And in my own.
I came at you with, like, a laser sword. I'm pretty sure that the implicit thing there was, I'm going to try and kill you, so you don't kill me. But okay, it's alright, I forgive you.
It is most reassuring to know that you can forgive me. Even though I tried to take your life, I can only hope that in
lots of
our
people have tried to do that.
Together, I will succeed.
I'm sure you will. So she's got, I think, about 6 more exchanges to have. A couple of them are kind of long, but they lead to something that'll become relevant.
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan?
I was wondering if we could have a chat.
What is it you would like to speak to me about?
I don't know, what do you want to talk about? Your past, sure. Well, actually, are you doing okay?
I thank you for your concern, but I am still a bit shaken.
How come?
I have been thinking about myself, about Quatra, and about my fall to the dark side. I keep thinking
this
that
again.
it was my
Yes.
anger that drove me that far, that nearly damned me. I look inside myself now and I can still see it. I still feel it.
Well, yeah. Emotions are normal. You know, that happens. Perhaps you need more time.
Time would do me good. Time to distance myself from that anger. I think
Exactly.
that is why the
You're on a
council
spaceship.
agreed to
It's cool.
send me with you. They think, perhaps, that in your company, I will be able to free myself from it.
Maybe. Well, you know, if you start doing the whole slide into evil thing, I will try and
I
stop you.
thank you for your concern and your acceptance. I will strive to prove that I am worthy of your company and trust.
I'm sure you are.
How may I be of
I'm
assistance to
sure.
you, Padawan?
Well, I'm not sure, because I don't know what we're going to talk about this time. What are we going to talk about this
to
time?
speak to me about?
Your past, sure. That'll
I
work.
suppose I have not talked very much about the Jedi I met back home. They...
Not really, no.
All of them were so very invigorating.
How so?
They were so very alive. So full of hope and energy and zeal. In retrospect, I can see it was a little bit tragic.
Tragic. Because...
Yes. These Jedi were going to fight the Mandalorians just after they had invaded.
right.
Many of those Jedi perished in the fighting, but to us, they seemed invincible. Especially their leader, who they talked about all the time. Paragons of light and justice, sweeping away all iniquity before them. It was like
They sound
looking
like
at
cool
gods.
guys. Well, I do look divine, but the Jedi aren't really gods.
I know that. I was using poetic license.
Okay, calm down.
They were enthralling. Everyone wanted just to touch them. Some people thought it would bring them luck. Not that the peace they brought
Did it?
lasted very long.
Oh, because? What
the
happened?
Jedi left. The people grew complacent. Those who had been wronged saw their chance at revenge. And so the cycle continues. The oppressed
Hakuna
become
Matata.
a new generation of oppressors. The human oppressed, that is. The non-humans were never treated well in any case. We felt the brunt of both administrations.
This is true. All species are capable of intolerance.
Yes. But humans seem the most pervasive, the most consistent. They took
Yeah,
their frustration
I suppose.
and hate out on
That
us
makes sense.
because the people they wanted had already fled or were too well protected. But no one looks out for the injustices we suffered. Oh no, but I am sorry. I should not have outbursts like that.
It wasn't that big of an outburst. You were just slightly irritated, which is, I think, is okay. You know, as long as you don't let the anger influence
Don't you see? The very fact I mentioned it means it has its influence.
Well, a
Anger
little
can
bit,
lead to the
maybe.
dark side, and I must be ever careful that I do not fall back into those ways.
Yeah, I suppose.
Thank you for your support. My outburst was uncalled for, but you did not lash back at me. You are a much better Jedi than I, it would seem. But let us not speak
Paragon
more
of
this
virtue.
now. We should continue on our journey. Perhaps later we will talk again.
Well, you see, we've traveled so very many times that I've actually unlocked a lot of your dialogue simply by going to different places, so we'll continue this now, thanks.
Yes. What is it?
What's wrong?
I have been bothered by something of late.
Oh? And what
I
is
never
it?
told you where I came from, did I? Where I grew up
No.
as a child?
Nope.
I suppose I was trying to deny what I was feeling.
I like the second option because it's so amusing. Because, like, she clearly hasn't been. But you have the opportunity to be like, hang on, wait, what?
I have been wrestling with my feelings inside. Trying to come to terms with it, but I find I cannot. I must have someone to blame. Someone to blame for the destruction of my homeworld. Someone who is responsible for the death of everyone I have ever known, except those on Dantooine.
Oh dear. Yawn. No.
Taris. It was Taris that the Sith destroyed to try to kill you and your precious Bastilla. Taris, my homeworld.
You realize that they're the ones who pulled the trigger, right? Okay, I'm sorry, but that's not
If
my
it were
fault.
not for you and Bastilla, the Sith would have never had reason to destroy that world. It was your fault for being there, and your fault for rescuing Bastilla. Without your intervention,
I'm sorry I was on
the
a
Sith
ship.
would have had no cause to lay waste to my childhood.
I'm sorry that I was on a ship that just so happened to get shot down over Taris. My bad. Should I have perhaps rescheduled? You know, I'm just gonna go it doesn't matter which one you pick.
Just let me vent my anger. I need someone to blame. Something. Anything. I hated that world. Yet everything I learned as a child, I learned there. It is as much a part of me as the air I breathe. I have this ache inside me, where all my childhood memories lay, and I find your face there with them. If it was not for you, that world would still exist.
Yep. Obviously. You know, be chill, Juhani. Be chill.
There is no
be cool.
emotion. There is peace. I suppose
Damn
you did
straight.
what you had to, and it could not have been avoided. The Republic needs you and Bastilla. Maybe needs you more than it needed Taris. But it is so hard to lose your entire past. You would not understand.
Maybe not, but you know, time heals all wounds, that sort of
Yes.
thing.
Yes, I suppose it will. As long as we remain focused on our task, it will. I am sorry.
See?
I will try not to distract you in the future with my trivial experiences. We should stop for now.
That's an odd change of tone. But okay, sure. I don't think she's not gonna talk to me. I'm pretty sure we can still
Yes.
continue.
What is it?
Are you
I
okay?
was remembering Taris.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You know, even though I didn't pull the trigger or anything like that, I'm
No,
sorry.
It's all right. I think I'm over the worst of it. I apologize again for lashing out at you. It was not your fault. It was
Damn right!
a horrible place to have to live. At least in the lower cities where the non-humans tended to get relegated. Living for
Yeah,
years
been
in a
there.
place with no sun, living off the trash dropped from the upper levels, and the meager pay doing back-breaking labor.
Yeah, and the rat ghouls. I remember that.
There was always the danger of rat-ghouls coming up from the sewers, or more mundane predators living and working in the area. My family and I struggled each and every day to make something of our lives. But we could only go so far. Taxes from the corrupt government, more fees from the gangs controlling the streets, and whatever was left paying for what food and medical supplies we could afford.
But nobody helped you or anything like that? You know, if there was lots of you, wouldn't you have banded
And
together?
of course, there was the constant bigotry and hate from the more affluent and human citizens.
Yeah,
Lording their
humanity,
wealth over us
dicks.
living below. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human.
Like?
The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order. The one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians. She was human. I am sorry. I
Interesting.
am getting away from my point. If there even was one. Sometimes I curse the day my parents fled to Taris. But then again, if they had not, I would not be where I am today.
That's true. Your parents, huh? Where'd they go from?
Another story for another time. For now, we must continue our own epic. To save the galaxy, if we can.
Damn straight. I am Karl Agathon, saviour of the universe.
How may I be
But you have more to
assistance
tell us.
you, Padawan?
Well, could we
What
chat?
is it you would like to speak to me about?
Your past.
Well, I mentioned before that my parents had fled to Taris. Perhaps I can tell you about that.
Sure. That sounds interesting. I didn't see any... Yeah,
In the
please do.
early days of the Mandalorian War, there had been fighting closer to the Outer Rim worlds.
Indeed. Near where your species
Cathar
comes
was
from.
there, yes. My people had a great reputation as warriors, and that appealed to the Mandalore version of honor. They sought
Right.
to test themselves against us, I think. Test themselves by bombing our world, slaughtering my people while they slept or while they ran.
Yeah, they always kind of fought a bit dirty.
They swooped down from space across the world, firing at anything that moved. They used ships in space to destroy all orbital facilities and bombard the surface. We did resist, and in spite of their violent attack, we did stave them off for quite a while. But in the end, we were doomed.
I can imagine. But, you know, why did the Republic not help
We
out?
were not members of the Republic. Cathar was beyond the edge of the Republic, in the Outer Rim. And besides, they could not have known. Our interstellar communications were the
suppose.
first things the Mandalores hit. All other short-range communicators were jammed. We were on our own. We knew what was coming. We had fought the Mandalorians in the first war against Exar Kun and the Sith. We knew there would be no mercy for us. The most we could do was pack the few of our people who survived onto what few ships remained and send them off into space as fast as they could. Most did not make it.
Some did, though. You know, you made
My
it.
parents carried me as a baby with them and were lucky enough to escape. They fled as far as they were able and eventually settled on Taris. They could stand running no further, I think. But Taris was a horrible
Makes sense.
choice. Dominated by humans, intolerant of other species, it made everyday life unnecessarily hard.
Yeah, it's true. But how did you guys survive?
My father turned to stimulants. He spent much of his time in local bars and dives. But we are warriors. It runs through our blood. And when he was on stims, he became foolish. He let
Oh,
his
dear.
warrior nature get the best of him. So he would get intoxicated, and he would fight. And finally, one day, he would die.
Yep. And we've already encountered that when we arrived at Manan, and there was that guy who thought that Juhani was a slave, and, you know, stuff and things. So we already know that he died.
Killed by a man who provoked him into a fight and killed him like an animal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I cannot talk about this any longer right now.
That's cool. So we already knew that, but you have to progress through the dialogue arcs, otherwise you don't get to the ones that you want to
How
get
may
to.
I be of assistance to you, Padawan?
Well, I think we're almost done, but I was wondering if we
What
could
is
chat.
it you would like to speak to me about?
What are you
I
thinking
have
about?
been thinking much about our journey, and I am grateful and honored that you have accepted me with you. I am not used to such unbiased acceptance from one who is nearly a stranger to me. We Cathar do not
It's
make
the
friends
obvious,
easily,
isn't it?
or for long. Even on Dantooine,
Yep.
I remained alone. Not ostracized exactly, but separate.
Well, that makes sense, I guess. You know, the alien is always kind of strange to people, unfortunately. For better or worse. That must have been difficult.
Yes, it was. I find it difficult to speak of those things. I do not want to live that way ever again. And here, it seems different. It is warming. I feel almost welcome. Needed. You seem to be very
Well,
decisive.
everyone
which
is part of the team.
required of you. It is reassuring to know that I can count on someone like you.
Yeah, we're all in this together. It's only because I haven't found a way to ditch you yet.
Yes, and that is my point. I find it difficult to explain. It is so different from what I am used to. Just thank you for accepting me.
No problem. Everyone's
How
part of
may
the
I be
team.
of assistance to you, Padawan? What is
Let's
it you
chat.
would like to speak to me about?
Let's chat about after your
After
dad
my
died.
father died, my mother was left to support me alone. A single non-human woman, living in one of the worst, most violent slums on Terrace. It was not easy.
Sounds delightful. But what
When
happened?
my father was killed, it seemed that something in her began to die as well. She worked. She worked as hard as she was able. But over time, she began to waste away. I later learned that she was unable to get enough money to feed both of us, and had to start borrowing from the exchange. A band of cutthroats and smugglers. But even that was not enough. She hid what she was doing from me. She gave most of her food to me so that I would be strong, but she herself was suffering deeply from it. In the end, she could go on no longer, and collapsed at the cantina where she worked one day.
And she died? Surely there was a
She
doctor.
never recovered. There was nothing really that I could do for her. She left me no money, and no doctor would see her without being paid first. I sat
That
by her
bastard.
bed for days as she lay there dying. I never want that to happen to someone I care about ever again. But there was still the money she had borrowed. She had never paid it back and made no provisions for her death. You must
Oh dear.
understand. The exchange is brutal. They care nothing for the life of a sentient being. They are the major suppliers of slaves on Terrace.
And so you were enslaved, I
They
guess.
thought it would be appropriate that, with my mother owing them money, the debt should be passed on to me. And
Of
with no
course,
repayment,
naturally.
They took me by force. You have no idea what it is like to be bound like a beast and treated as such. It was the worst time of my life. They treated me like livestock. They were waiting for a buyer to give them some credits for me when the Jedi came to fight the Mandalorians.
And they freed you? I would imagine. You got free
The
somehow.
Jedi could not abide by what they saw there, and drove the exchange from the face of the world, freeing those of us imprisoned there. But the Jedi soon left to fight their war, and I was left with a dream.
A dream? What was the
I
dream?
swore that I would become a Jedi. As soon as I had enough money to do it, I bought passage on a freighter headed for Dantooine, and we both know what has
Interesting
happened since
motivation. That's true. You know, you
I am
became a
grateful
Jedi.
to you for having given me the opportunity to fulfill my dream, rather than become what I hated. Someday, I may make it up to you. But for now, let us keep on the task at hand.
Okay. I think there's
How
one
may I
more
be of
conversation.
assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? Of course.
Nope, there's no
If
more
there is
conversation.
anything else, I am.
Cool. So, the big deal with Juhani is that she's dealing with anger and, you know, all those things. Karth, I haven't forgotten about your son. We will deal with it soon. Hey,
How
pass
can
the
I
word.
help?
Oh, I don't know. Do we have anything else to talk about? Yeah, let's talk about this.
We've
Number one.
already
Yeah.
been over this. It was a moment of weakness. A stumble brought
I
on
didn't remember we
unbridled
talked about it.
passions.
I'm sorry.
My emotions are firmly in check once more. We need to stay focused on stopping Darth Malak, and I want the
Okay.
others to stay focused as well. I don't want them to get suspicious and start gossiping about our little encounter. So until our mission is over, we need to act with discretion. We shouldn't speak of this anymore. Not until Malak is defeated.
Okay. Alright, cool, chill, okay. Let's see. I think, because we've already made this a dialogue episode, let's go talk to Jolee and Canderous.
Got something on your mind, dude?
I don't know. You mentioned something about your adventuring.
Did I say that? Strange that
You
Truth's
did.
memory plays on you when you get older.
So you weren't an adventurer.
Didn't
then.
I say that my past was my affair? You don't see me poking and prodding you with questions, do you?
That's a question. No, but you've already said so much.
I'm not here to satisfy your curiosity. No staring at the old man. That's what the sign says, damn it. And besides,
I haven't seen a
you don't
sign.
really want to hear about me. We're talking ancient history. Probably before you were born. History bores kids. Proven fact.
Yeah, well, yeah, I like the first one.
Oh, fine. Have it your way. Just don't cry about it later. Yes, I was an adventurer. Happy now? I wasn't even done with my Jedi training back then. I had a full head of hair and an eagerness to see absolutely everything. Sound familiar? The council was never happy
little,
with
yeah.
willful, brash Jolee Bindo, you see. Even less so when I began my smuggling career.
You were a smuggler.
Don't look at me like that, damn it. I wasn't always the wrinkled coot I am now, you know. I can still fight, too. So wipe off that smirk I see there. At the time, the Yuuzhan system was interdicted by its own king. He preferred to keep his people starving and poor, all the better to oppress them. The Senate was trying to negotiate a peace, but they were getting nowhere as usual. I decided
Makes
I
sense.
wasn't going to wait.
That's the tale
I
that always
found
happens.
myself a ship and a partner, and we began smuggling food and supplies to the Yuuzhan citizenry through the blockade.
Good job, Jolee. Well done. Where'd you get the credits for it all, though?
Well, we didn't buy all the equipment per se. Some were happy to donate goods. Some we just knew had more than they could use.
Robin Hood. Stole is such a harsh word.
Stole is such a harsh word. They would have donated those goods readily enough if they were compassionate. I considered it a tax on the greedy. We only got caught once. A lone Yuuzhan frigate shot us down and forced a crash landing. I thought the Force had abandoned me, as I remember.
I actually haven't played through this in years, so either I've got a very good memory or I was just really lucky at guessing what BioWare would write to be so scathing. Well, what happened then?
Well, as it happens, getting shot down turned out to be very fortunate. That day was the day
The day you what, Jolee? You can't leave us on cliffhangers.
That was the day I met my wife.
Wait, you're married?
You know another way to get a wife? But yes,
Okay.
that's when I met her.
It was
If
more
it's
of
all
a
the same
huh.
to you, I'd prefer to stop talking now. My mouth is starting to draw flies.
And you look really sad. I'm sorry, Jolee. Okay. I do like Jolee, though. He's very good. He's a great character. HK.
HK-47 is ready to serve, Master.
I know. I'm pretty sure that we've restored all of his memory, but let's have a quick look just to make sure.
Negatory. I believe that there are no further deleted. Those are protected
Okay.
by my safeguards. The only way those memories could...
Yeah. Proper stimulus. Alright, fair enough. And Canderous, do you
Yeah,
have
what
any
do you
more
want?
war stories? Do you have any more war stories, old
You
man?
want another war story, huh? You want to hear about
Yeah.
some other world getting wasted, huh? I knew
Yes.
you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now.
How so? Where did you fight this time?
We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the
this story is
pirates and
important, too.
smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake.
Good job. Why? What happened?
The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on a side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other. Just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it. Something inactive, in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something, or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that.
There was, actually. So, Canderous is talking about another part of the extended universe. I'm not sure if it's been retconned because of the whole Disney thing, but basically, there's this group of alien invaders called the Yuuzhan Vong, I believe is how you say it, and they basically hate technology, so they fly these ships that are basically alive, and some of them look very much like asteroids. So Canderous, 4,000 years before, the present day in the Star Wars timeline, encountered one of those. It's a nice little tie-in to the rest of the extended universe. This is why I like BioWare, because they do really, really cool things like that.
Maybe,
an asteroid.
But maybe not. It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it. After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax. We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed. We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now. I'll tell you some more stuff later if we get the chance. Is there something else you want to know?
Nope, I'm good.
Your choice. I'm here if you want something done right.
I'll remember. So yeah, the Mandalorians encountered these things long time ago in a galaxy far away. Way. But it's interesting. I mean, I always liked the concept of the Yuuzhan Vong because they were different. They were very, very different. They also aren't able to feel the Force in the extended universe. Well, it's all extended universe, of course. They weren't able to feel the Force, so the Jedi weren't able to kind of, use that whole precognitive thing and be like, hey, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're doing. Alright, so I will break the video here, and then in the next video we will go forth to Yavin and then other places. So I will see you guys in the next video. And thank you for watching. Grey Hunters, signing out.